Is he in the vehicle?
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm at Grace Church Road. I went to Waynesboro to bring this man down to this address. And now he's trying to force his way into a house. I'm afraid to move my vehicle. Just fighting in there.
It's inside the house now?
Yeah.
You have your doors locked?
It's open. I'm in a van.
You need to make yourself safe, okay? Even if you've got to drive away from there to get away from him and close that and lock that door. Do that for me now, please.
Okay, wait a minute.
And I'm blurry. 1 second, be right back. Let's try that one again. Okay, that should be better. All right, there we go. I don't know what I did. I think I turned away from my computer than the camera. Right. But anyways, hey, you guys, again.
How are you? Hey, Alexa, welcome.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Adam. Hi, Sunny. How are you?
Long time no see, Alexa.
I know, right?
Oh, there's CDs in the house. I see that. I looked down. There's ACD, buddy. Thanks again last night to Alexa, Adam, and of course Deb and Steffa for last night's impromptu live of kind of like I called it girls' nights, but Adam's inclusive in that girls' club with us on there. But that was a nice live last night. Just I always like to have ones like that where it's just like just chitter-chattering about the different cases or the case or whatever, Delphi in particular. And yeah, especially when people have different thoughts, because again, I mean, I personally think that would be boring if everyone agreed about the same thing, to be honest with you, all the time. But happy Easter. Oh, look at it. I'm going blurry. Why is my camera doing this? Crazy. Right. Call me crazy. Some people do. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. We're back again. But so yeah, so thank you guys for coming. I'm not again. It's like Easter weekend, the long Easter.
Yeah, Good Friday.
I wonder how many people. I'm not sure about you guys, but usually when there's a long weekend, if people are always going like camping, usually starting going camping and stuff around this time. So if it's a little quieter on the internet, I do not know. Either way, we typically do lives on the Friday, so YOLO. It is what it is, right?
I know if you're anywhere near North Carolina today, if you're camping, you're in 38-degree weather and you're wet and cold because it's pouring rain and freezing. It was 84 yesterday and it was like 40 today.
Ooh, yeah. I know that's like I said, I put a video in our messenger one too, and it was like, there you go, there's the rain. Wasn't even thinking about that. Actually, I might even show that. Just to show the flying saucer off again. Oh no, because it's playing music, so I can't do that. Husband always has the music cranked, but I thought it was a good thing of how I didn't pan into it, but just as you're driving, and it was just like there's the big flying saucer, which is near home. And hey, Tommy Baker, how are you? Hold on, Tommy gets one of those. Tommy always does this. This is his message whenever he's on the video. Just yup. Your hair looks beautiful, Missy. Mm-hmm. Miss Dog Lover's in the house. Hey, Miss Dog Lover, happy Easter. Not really. No, not really. Yeah, he was here, and I was just asking him to send me something for tonight's live.
Yeah, we were on time actually. All of us.
I'm on time most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, give or take 7 minutes before start time, but by the time we actually went live, it was like 7.
Wasn't it Alexa last night that needed more time?
Yes, it was actually. Yes, but I was doing something anyway, so I was just like, I'm just gonna back off the live by 10 minutes because it gave me a couple minutes extra time to do what I was doing anyway.
Granted, I did see that last night.
Yeah, because my kids were showering, and I didn't want, when they're wild and they start screaming and singing, so I didn't want you guys to start, listening to So I was like,
you don't want us to start singing.
Yeah,
I think she just didn't want us to start singing. If we start singing, then they start leading.
Yeah, the music, right?
All right. Hey, Callie girl. Alexa's in the house. Like I said, CD's in the house. Love you, buddy. I hope you had did you go? Hold on. When did you go out for your birthday? Did you go out for your birthday yet? Or are you guys doing that tomorrow?
Whose birthday is it? CD's?
Yeah. Can you say that again?
Whose birthday is it?
It was CD's the other day.
Oh, CD's. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't nudge me at all and say, "Hey," because I don't really know unless someone's name pops up on like Facebook, which I don't even pay attention to. Like, I don't ever use my Facebook to actually use my Facebook. I use it. The only time I ever use my Facebook is literally when I'm sharing a video, and then of course you tweet it, share it and then you Facebook it, and then I have to go back to my Facebook just to share it. I actually never look. The only time I ever look at my Facebook is literally I'm not talking about our members page, but is when something literally hits me in the face right away. When you go to your Facebook and then somebody has a whatever, and that's the only time I actually use Facebook for actually. I just don't use Facebook. I could care less about it. Nothing usually but drama most times anyway. That's why I kind of got rid of it the first time I had it a long time ago. Okay, let's see. Oh, Fibro's in the house. Tony, hey Tony, just chopping some veggies with my new Kohberger 2.0 kitchen knife set. Funny guy. And of course, Streamlabs is in the house. Hey Jess, how are you? And there, what does he say? That was a hot live, except for Adam, of course, right? I know. Okay. I was trying to ditch him, but it's just like it's like glued. It just sticks to me. There. I know. I think Miss. Oh, did I ever Sharon Parker's in the house? If I'm in slow-mo a little bit, guys, I literally, that stupid alarm sound that goes off? Brrr, 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 that one from, brrr, the rigid, like the one that just makes that annoying sound. It doesn't even have a nice sound. It just is like, brrr, 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 and whatever. Dinner out tomorrow night, Sunny. Okay, PJ's second chance is in the house. Hey, PJ. And sees through. Hey, sees through. And Diamond Eyes. Okay. What's new, Buttercups? Well, I'm the butter. Adam, you want to be the cup? Or Alexa? Alexa's
you guys are sweet. You guys are sweeter. You can be the Buttercup.
Oh, that's so nice.
There's my 5 chins. Okay. Miss Dog, as she should be. Good people are hard to come by these days. Most are trying to leapfrog. Oh, leapfrog. I remember that game. Especially in YouTube land, we see it too often. Absolutely. What did Miss Dogliver say? At CD Sunny is currently working on my birthday video for next Saturday. Oh. Let me go. Let me just tell Sunny that she's working on a birthday video. But if I make you, and then CD's going to be pissed. So then if I just null and void it, then there we go. See, then it's fair square. Can't have beef tonight, so Def wasn't doing that. I don't even know what you guys are all on there. Anyways, how you guys doing today? Oh, which reminds me, did you see my beautiful straws that I bought myself while I was shopping today?
Yeah, they were nice.
Yep.
Sure.
Are they reusable ones?
Yeah.
I was shocked. I never seen those reusable like that.
Well, I was like my husband. So I was working hard at them. I was diligently working hard today. And I was like, you know what? My husband says, do you want to go to Canadian Tire? And I'm like, not really. Because I was in the groove. I was in the middle of, I made like the membership video, I made the intro trailer video, and I had been doing whatever. Oh yeah, and I was playing with the fact of the green screen, and I put myself behind the thing on it, I even had like an axe come at me at one point. This is where it's hard because then I go.
By the way, I just watched your intro. The intro you did. Okay, two things. I didn't even get a chance. I just watched it 5 minutes before we came on. You used my real, like my real name, but you got it. But you still got it wrong.
What did I say? Did I say Adam Connor?
Spencer. You said Spencer.
Did I?
Oh my god.
I meant to tell you before we went on the air, but I was like, oh, I better say it now or I'll forget. Yeah.
Oh. Well, that's
Other than that, it was a great video.
That's because you keep messing me up with this whole damn thing.
Never changed anything.
No, it's in my head because it's not Spencer, but it's like half the time I call you Adam, and then sometimes I'll call you Aspen because I forget because I'm always calling you Adam and blah blah blah, and then people go, "Who's Aspen?" to Adam, and I'm just like, "Well, that's Adam," and it's Aspen. I didn't know, and I thought she said Spencer. I don't know what I said now, to be honest with you. But okay, wait 1 second here. 1 sec, guys. Where is it? Somebody putting food in there. Oh, goodness. Sorry, guys. I'm just opening this up. You guys, I'm trying to show you guys my freaking straws that I bought on there. Hold on.
I know they are nice, I have to say.
Well, I wasn't about to go there and get nothing while husband was buying stuff, so he could buy.
Mine are. I get this ones that are hearts. I don't know if you guys can see.
Oh yeah.
The heart ones.
Oh, that hurts. Is that plastic?
But it's not reusable.
Oh, it's not reusable.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
Before anybody comes for me, I know I shouldn't be using plastic. I know.
Yeah.
It's like the only bad thing I do.
See, aren't those pretty, guys?
Those are good. I can't believe they're reusable though.
Those are good.
Yeah, they're reusable. See,
I have to go and buy them and find them.
Did you guys notice? So, listen to my husband if you can hear him. Hold on. Hey guys, this is my big purchase today. Reusable plastic straws. Who doesn't love those? Hey, is that nail dirty up there? Oh, just your husband walked in the room. What?
Oh, let me talk to you.
Oh, anyways. Hey guys, this is my big purchase today. Hold on. Reusable plastic straws. Who doesn't love those? Stevie caught it. Hey, did you hear what he said? Did you catch it?
No.
So as I was talking, he's like, I need a SHIT. And then he goes, I thought you were talking to yourself. I was like, no, I'm recording a video. Anyways, all right, guys, that popcorn sounds good there. Okay. So, there's been a few things going on, but we're going to talk about Delphi. And thanks, Alexa, again for joining us. And we're going to talk about Bryan Kohberger. And we're going to talk about, let me actually bring that up, I guess, back up on screen here. What you doing, honey?
I was trying to find a cable that takes into the bed, so ignore me.
Okay. Let's see here. This one here. I'm just going to share the screen here.
Oh my God,
Okay.
to move it.
So it would be item number 35, which says ID cards. Yeah.
Inside glove, inside box.
Yeah, inside glove, inside box. Okay. Now, I know when this morning, Jennifer Coffin-Daffer had tweeted, like, who would put ID cards in a glove box? But we all know that a glove box is referencing to a car. But that's not what that actually says. It says 10 ID cards inside glove, inside box.
Right.
And this is from the address of the Pennsylvania. Where is the join membership button? Diamond Eyes, if you go to any video, like when you click on a video, the joint button's there. Oh, but I can easily put that in the thing as well. If it's in every video actually here. YouTube Studio. I'll go over there for a second. Earn. What's underneath? Oh yeah, it's underneath this one. Memberships. Is that what you're talking about? Is that what you're talking about, Diamond Eyes? Everything. That's what I did. I organized all the links in the description. I added the merch to YouTube. It shows up in Canadian dollars. It's so stupid. It's like everything is in American dollars, but when you look at the merch price, it's in American. But once you click on it, it takes you to the site for the US pricing on there. So just so you know that. Because I was like, what's up with all these weird numbers that they got? Try to do that like a couple weeks ago. But they had all my merch for that I deleted and stuff like that. I'm like, so I had to message him and wait for them to get back and blah, 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 blah. Does it say card? It says cards. PJ Second Chance. Yeah, it says cards. Not sure if you guys are on the phone or not, but yeah, that's an S right there. So, well,
and I sent you two more, Sunny. Because the original one was the News Nation article that came out yesterday, which they specifically stated car. But then if you look at the actual documents, I mean, these are from the vehicle because I also sent you the one from the car.
Let's take. Okay,
so it can be a little confusing depending on how you read it.
Okay. I gotta open my Facebook back up here. Yeah. Alexa, while I'm doing that, okay, explain to everybody the difference between a souvenir and a trophy.
Okay. Well, first we have to say a trophy is an item that the killer takes as a souvenir. So that we established that. Trophy is proof of their killings. So it's basically saying, hey, this is what I did. And a souvenir attaches more into the sexual fantasy of the unaliving. So the souvenir is more of their fantasy, and the trophies is more of what they did, what they accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody like, if you remember, Jeffrey Dahmer used to have heads. Well, he used to have a lot of bones, but mainly heads, and those were his trophies.
Thank you. To join membership, you need to do it via PC.
Well, do you, Adam? Just to ask you that, like, not everyone has a PC.
Correct.
Miss Doglover says to join membership, you need.
Well, thank you, Miss Doglover, by the way. Cheers, Miss Doglover. I joined the membership not on a PC.
Yeah, because not everybody has a PC. Yeah.
I've been a member so long I don't remember how I did it, but
it would have been on your
here to join your channel. You mean?
I believe just when you go to the channel page, it should give you the option to join.
I did it from the phone. I didn't do it from the PC.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did it from my mobile. Yeah.
Let me go to someone else's page and see if I'm not a member of it.
I know Adam definitely joined from his phone or his iPad.
Because I didn't have a PC at the time.
I like 100%.
Let me see here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I know I was subscribed to that channel.
iPhone, but in a Safari. Yeah, there you go. See, a
How
lot
do
of
you
people
join?
don't even have PCs nowadays. Oops. Okay. On the iPhone, you have to join from. Okay, right. Everything with the iPhone is always on Safari.
That's right. Yeah, if you go into YouTube through Safari or Chrome or whatever browser you use, you should be able to do it that way. As long as it doesn't redirect you to open the link, or to open the app.
Callie, Callie, how long have you been? Callie's. Oh, wait. You can open up YouTube in the web browser, not the app, on your phone and join. Callie's been a member for 11 months. Okay, Callie girl. Yeah. Okay. Hi, Virgo.
Thank you, Callie.
Well, hi, Lacey. How are you? Oh, there's Jeff. Hey, Jeff. On a desktop laptop computer, there's a big white pill-shaped join button. Yeah, under the video next to it. It's a crime and shame, but not on my phone. Right. So, however, I don't use my phone or iPad, but so many people use that stuff. I don't. So more Adam and that know way more than I do when it comes to what options you can have on the phone and stuff. Why is it not on iPad? Well, it is on iPad.
Yeah, just open it through Safari.
If it's an iPad, you have to go through the Safari browser. Is what you're saying, right?
Hey, Virgo.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, if you read this is the News Nation news article that came out yesterday, where kind of this. I think I believe that's where this information kind of originated from, was a source that told them. And it says right there, a search warrant unsealed earlier this year revealed police seized IDs from Kohberger's car, but it did not specify to whom they belong. And then I know there was I sent Sunny a News Nation video clip from today that they specifically said the house of Kohberger. So even they're kind of backtracking on their original reporting as far as it being the car.
So this article was from when?
That's when the article originally came out. I believe it was from yesterday.
Oh, okay.
But then they sent it. They posted a video earlier today where they even in the title of the video it says the house.
Right. Oh, okay.
And so this is what you're looking at now. This is the list of things that were recovered from the Hyundai Elantra.
Yeah. Besides just saying documents there.
Yeah.
That doesn't say ID cards. It says documents. Yeah. Car insurance card. This one says gloves, receipts, car insurance card.
Right. So the other list was the list from the house in Pennsylvania, his parents' house.
Right.
So, but it's still odd. Why would you have ID cards inside a box in a glove?
Yeah.
Or in a glove in a box. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, somebody obviously must. Go ahead, Alexa.
No. But I was just gonna say, because obviously you don't want somebody to find it. That's the only reason that you will have it there. When I want to hide something, that's what I do.
Right.
I put it inside something else.
So Alexa, with what you were saying before, with souvenirs and trophies. If let's say hypothetically that this is one of the victims from 112 King Road. This is one of the victims' IDs. Would that then be a trophy or a souvenir?
I would say that would be a trophy
Right.
that he's
See,
keeping.
this is what I read or pulled from the internet.
In
The context, says in the context of a homicide. Well, use the M word. We'll just say red drum, okay? Red drum. That's my new word, red drum. In the context of a red drum, a trophy is an item that the killer takes from the victim as a souvenir of the crime. The FBI differentiates it in their definition of 2 words, classifying a souvenir as something that fuels the killer's fantasy, while a trophy is proof of the of their skill.
But
so would hair be a souvenir?
Hair would be. But it can be also both, because it can be a trophy and it can be a souvenir, because a trophy is the item that the K takes as a souvenir of a crime.
Like underwear?
That would be it could be also, it could be both. It could be technically, it can be both. It depends. I guess sometimes they like to classify it as, if the K is like a SK, they like to classify it, like the collection, as trophies. If it's not known, then they use it as souvenirs. But depending, also the type of K that they're talking about.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
I was gonna say, and you guys, if you're watching this now, please give this live a thumbs up. For the thumbs up is just helpful for all the work that goes into lives and stuff, and the guests that come on, appreciation as well, and obviously for the channel, it helps for the algorithm. So if you guys could do that, that would be great. So I know I said to you, like, well, that's because I thought it was the glove box. Because I'm like, is this like the dumbest criminal in Bryan Kohberger? But my thing is this: it's like,
it's still dumb.
Hey,
I said, well, it's still dumb if you brought it from Idaho to Pennsylvania.
Oh, this is like, and this is the thing, right? Like, with Richard Allen. Right. It said, it's been said, of course, that souvenir, or that there was clothing missing, that souvenirs were that were taken. For a long time now, we have heard about hair being taken of each of the girls. That's been a long time thing that's been said. But we know that there's articles missing, because we know that from the Ron Logan affidavit. So somebody has a fetish, and then, there's obviously stuff that they dug up in the backyard there, and stuff like that. So when I was watching the News Nation, actually, you know what? I'm going to play that clip actually right now. And it's just, let's see, how long is it? It's, is this the right one? I got so many tabs open. Kohberger search warrants and sealed, released warrant list. I don't Kohberger had with him. Is this the right one? Oh no, that was some. I don't even know how I got to that one. Let me just see here. I had it open. Do I still have it open? Channel. Oh yeah, okay, there it is. Sorry, had to look in my list of many tabs going on.
How long is the video?
Let's see here, Alexa. It is 5 minutes and 34 seconds. Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Stefan. Sorry.
Okay, so let's play that.
Two aspects. One, evidence of what was found in the places where he lived or he inhabited, okay, that may connect him to one of the victims. An ID was found connected to someone from the home in Moscow, Idaho. It was found during one of the searches of Kohberger's residences, plural. So what does that mean? Well, either they found it in Washington, where he was just outside Moscow, Idaho, or in Pennsylvania. Police also believe they have evidence that could connect Kohberger to what they are viewing as cyber stalking of someone from the Moscow residence. We've reached out to the police. Due to the gag order, they can't confirm this information. But does this answer two questions? Is it a smoking gun? You know, I never really understand what that means. You know, obviously, is it the murder weapon? Who is it? No. But does it connect him to a group of people he had no business to be familiar with? And does it imply that Kohberger may have had more people on his list, and that may be why they're investigating him, to see if they can connect him to any other situations? Let's bring in retired FBI agent and News Nation legal contributor Jennifer Coffindaffer and high-profile trial attorney Mark Garagos. To both of your reckonings, you're familiar with the reporting and the sourcing on this. I basically have it right, yes? Nods of the head is enough? Okay, so from the investigative side, look, Garagos hates doing anything that's favorable to me. You see that? Even nodding his head. He didn't really want to. He was fighting it. So from the investigative side, Jennifer Coffindaffer, let's start with you. You find ID from one of the victims in a place that was controlled, inhabited by Kohberger. Let's start with that. How big a deal?
It's a big deal. That is a smoking license. Just like the sheath was a smoking sheath found next to Maddie with his DNA on that clasp, it's the same thing in this situation. Why would he have an ID related to one of those people from that house? And remember, we know that identifications were recovered from the glove box, and that was at the Pennsylvania search warrant. So interesting. We always wondered, what were those identifications that they referred to?
What's the counter, Mark?
Well, look, the counter is we don't know if it's true yet. I think part of the problem is when you put a gag order on stuff like this and you don't have a way for people to respond, you get us doing what we're doing now. I mean, I would much rather find out if in fact this is true. I would want to find out, number two, where it was found precisely, and I would want to know who it's of. And if you get if you assume all of those things are true, then I don't disagree with Coffindaffer. It's a bad fact.
The idea that they have, what are they talking about, you think, Jennifer, in the universe of, we have evidence that we believe shows that there was cyber stalking of him, of somebody else, either in that house or elsewhere? What kind of things might they be talking about?
Well, again, to Garagos's point, if that's true, why do people stalk? They stalk because they're feeling persecuted, and this is a way that they can exact their revenge. The same reason why people commit these types of heinous murders. All it means is pursuing stealthily. So this would line up completely with the crime he is accused of committing.
And by the way,
wrong, Mark?
it fits right in. It fits right in with Jennifer's theory from last night too. So she's really building quite a true crime manifesto here.
I can't wait for the book.
Yeah,
I'm going to need her on the podcast. The idea of is it fair to argue, counselor, at this point, even if both of these things are true, I'm more worried about the ID being in something of his control or possession than I am of the cyber stalking, because you could be into somebody and and looking at them a little bit too closely for somebody else's comfort, but it doesn't mean you killed them.
That's exactly right. Because if you've got something, I'm going to guess, and Jennifer, you can slap me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to guess that she would then say, look, if Pennsylvania turns out that they find things and he's connected to other crimes, this is what serial killers do. They have trophies. They take a trophy, blah, blah, blah. This is like a true crime, I don't know, to exponential levels. So that is what the argument would be. And that's I'll give you this. If any of this is true, it's a very difficult hurdle for the defense.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com.
All right, dude. Okay. Yeah, CD, I'm not going to lie. Every time I seem to open up or watch anything, it's like, "Oop, there she is."
Right. Her and Mark Garagos look good together, though, I have to say. They could be a good little couple there.
Okay. Yeah. It always, somewhat sometimes it reminds me. Do you remember that one lady that kind of looked like a male that was always talking with Idaho?
Oh
And
yeah,
like,
with the fake, yeah, that looked like a transvestite. No disrespect
yeah,
to anybody, but yeah, with the fake, with
yeah,
the wig, yeah.
yeah. And then it's like, when they're just touching their hair as they're, on the light. That's always what that reminds me of too. It's just like no movement. Yeah, got about see myself on camera. Hold on. Let me just pop up my.
Yeah, Angel, absolutely.
What did Angel say? Hi, Grandma Watches. Got it for the families of them poor kids. Has so much going on for them. Yeah, it was really nice watching Ethan's parents the other day when they were
With the
talking
tulips.
with the tulips. Yeah, and Ethan's parents, were speaking out, and they kind of like looked at each other and they're like, we're actually doing really good. And I think it's because, like just like anything, as time passes, now they got this this foundation that they're starting, to help other kids go to school, and keeping, of course, Ethan's memory alive through that foundation that they've started. And it's one of those things, like life, sadly, no matter what, and he was a triplet, Ethan, of course, has to move on.
Right.
I mean, it
What's
just
his
does.
tulip called? Ethan's Smile? Is that?
Yeah. I think that's right, Adam. Yeah. Anna says, I have a lot of questions about RA's possible guilt, but a fewer questions about BK. I get the idea that BK wanted to get attention, and now he has it.
And he's apparently eating it up, watching it on his, TV in his jail cell.
Yeah, I think BK wanted to be exactly, like the ones, like the case the NDS case that he read about, and that he followed everything to the T. I was like actually so surprised. I was like, it's funny that they haven't mentioned that he took a trophy or a souvenir until now. And I was like, oh, okay, good.
Well, I don't know, Alexa, I thought the same thing. And, if you remember, I know we talked about it like right in the very beginning is, my biggest thing was I thought that I wanted to know if all of their phones were found at the scene. And, I know they were. Well, I think they were. Because that was my first thought is, what did he take? And I just, for some reason, thought the phones would be something, logical. But an ID card, which I have to say, if you look at the amount of time he was in that house, how did he get an ID card so quick and unalive 4 people?
I know.
It was already, difficult to think of him unaliving all of them in 12 minutes, 13 minutes at most. But now you have to think, now he went and got an ID card.
I do know that a lot of people keep their wallets in, like my girlfriends, a lot of my girlfriends keep their wallets in their night tables, or they keep it like down, like near the door. Usually that there's like a little, they call it the drop-off section that usually, you put your keys, there's a basket, you put your keys, your wallet, your sunglasses, whatever. So I'm wondering if, he saw wallets there. I mean, but still to go through 4, imagine there's 4 wallets there and then you have to go through,
So I thought that, and then I thought, Kaylee and Maddie, they had gone out that night. I don't know, speculating, but if they were intoxicated, maybe they were in their clothing still. And, when you go out, I don't remember seeing purses on. Kaylee, I think, had a purse on her in the Grub Truck video. But, maybe she had her ID in her pocket. Like you would put a credit card and an ID in your pocket because that's all you really would need if you're going to go out for the night. So that was the only other thing, as I thought, is maybe, it was in their pocket or they sat
the time to go, to look.
In the dark.
I was going to say, because another thing that they had brought up actually on the one with Ashley Banfield, which was right before the Como guy, whatever his name is.
Como.
Yeah, what's his first name again? Chris? Is it?
Chris Como, yeah.
Como, okay. Is that they were saying like for instance, like they don't know that that's from that time. It maybe out of the 12 times he had gone in there and possibly had taken a souvenir prior to the actual event, which is a thought, obviously. That, if he was at the house, maybe did he go in it at some point, and check around, maybe, I mean, it's not like it's not implausible that is plausible, because if he was in there with already like 5 or 6 people in the house,
I more believe it has to be that time. He did it when he unalived them, because I mean that is, especially for somebody like him, that would be his way of reliving, and that's why they do it. And especially the ID.
IDs, yeah.
Because they want something as a proof that they redid what they did.
Right.
So,
like when the Instagram feed was no longer enough to feed their,
because they need something to prove. That's like a badge that I prove that I was there. I did that, and now I have it.
It's control. Like I owned this, and now I own this.
Yeah, it's control. Even after the afterlife, it's control over the victims. I have it. I'm the one who has it. The family doesn't have it. So yeah,
I don't even know where my ID is.
I know, right?
Yeah, mine's like I always just hide my wallet because I never use it. I only use my phone, and my phone houses my ID. On the.
I usually have my wallet. I have a wallet. I have my real wallet, and I have a little one that I never use. So I usually, honestly, I just take my stuff and I put it inside, typical girl, inside my bra.
He might, Jeff. He might.
Right. Now, a couple.
I hope they didn't find my ID in the car.
Okay. So we'll get back to talking about the souvenirs and the trophy in a minute and stuff. But what I was confused about was, okay, so back months ago, they or whatever it was. I think that the article you sent me said February 8th or something.
The one I sent you?
Yeah.
I think it was January 6th.
No,
or 3rd.
this one says February 8th.
All right.
Let's see here. So it says, but let me just see if this is what it could.
I couldn't find the original video that I'd watched months ago.
Yeah.
Because it was from like a local news station.
Yeah, so this is where I'm confused. And so why is it like it's breaking news now that they're trying to connect him to other cases? Because they've already talked about this a couple, months ago. So like when this was being talked about before, they had already said that they were looking into Bryan Kohberger for other cases. And the one gentleman, I distinctly remember watching it on the news or whatever channel it was on, and it said that they had not found anything.
They talked to the 3 counties that he lived in, and they talked to the prosecutor from each county, where he went to school at. Oh my goodness, the school he went to in Pennsylvania, Lehigh, or
I don't remember.
DeSalle University.
DeSalle. Yeah.
And then where he lived with his parents, and then he lived somewhere else, and then they talked to the prosecutor everywhere he lived, and they looked at all their cold cases and hadn't found anything. And that was months ago.
Right. So why is that news again now? Does anyone know?
Almost like they don't have news and they're recycling the news.
Yeah. Because it's just funny to me how people are like, as if you guys hadn't heard it before. And I'm like, they've already they talked about this months ago.
We spoke about it here.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, like I said, Adam sent me the article, and this one's back in, let's see right here, right? This one says February 8th, but it was even before then, like that they were talking. But anyways, whoops, let's just stop screen, right? Prosecutors.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I
would say, it's kind of like, last week, I saw this breaking news thing by Nancy Grace, who I love. But it was talking about the visual snow syndrome that's rumored to have been him on all of those online forums, which I do believe is him. I put out a video about that in the beginning of at the end of January or beginning of January. So I'm like, it was not breaking news when she put that out last week. But I guess when they have a slow news day, they recycle some of this stuff like it's new to them.
Yeah.
Look at Delphi. Remember some of the stuff that would come out a month after we talked about it on YouTube.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This one in particular made me laugh because I'm like, it's stuck out meaning this, you know, when someone says that they're trying to connect him to this other case, you know, I think most of us should have remembered that we had already heard this, you know, that it wasn't no breaking news. And then when you're listening to it, yeah, like the visual snow and all that stuff, and you're just like, oh, okay, you guys are just really trying to make old news sound new, like new news or something like that. But they specifically said that they did not find anything that was connecting him to other cases. So now for a lot of people, they're going, oh, maybe there's somebody else in, you know? So I don't know what they're trying to achieve on that one besides just bringing old news back to the forefront again. But I mean, I would care if they didn't say that they didn't find anything, you know, back months ago there. So, so that, yeah, because when I saw someone post that in our things, I was just like, they're talking about this a couple months ago. But you know, like I said, so I don't know. Maybe some people don't remember it. This case just seems like a game of ping pong. There is the issue with compromised witnesses. Then to counter that they found IDs, I certainly hope those IDs weren't planted to secure the case. Oh, conspiracy theorists.
Well, you know, I mean, another interesting thing, you know, because with the ID cards, and you know, one of the reasons I don't believe that they were, you know, planted, if you remember, and it was kind of confusing when in one of those dumps of court documents came out, there was a I can't remember what it's called in legal terms. It's something basically like to release the possessions of the victims, basically. You know what I'm talking about? And one of the documents said it was a motion to return or release items of belongings that were that were being held by the defense, and that was really when we came out, because we're like, how would the defense have evidence? Like, why would they be holding it? But this could be explained if Bryan Kohberger was found to have been in possession of any of the victims' things. And so that motion could have been in reference to these ID cards, or the ID card.
But still, the defense shouldn't have it. That should be the police.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I mean, but it's because like he had it in his possession, and so that it was.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
Are they actual ID cards of the victims or cards he made up? I'm sure they're probably real. Yeah. If I was a betting person, which I am, I would say that they're actual.
Yeah, and the CD is right. That's what I think. Because they didn't say license; they say ID. I'm thinking it was probably their school ID.
Could be.
Right. Yeah.
Or the library ID or whatever.
Not their Blockbuster card.
Right. Yeah. So, do any of you guys have you guys ever had a change of heart? Do you think that it was like they've already said before too, you know, that it was like one person, like that it was one person in particular that he was messaging. Has any of you guys changed? Mine's changed because most of us have always believed it's Kaylee or Maddie. You know, I always thought Kaylee, but there's a big chunk of me that does think Maddie, and I kind of said that, you know, because Maddie's the one that worked at the Greek restaurant, did she?
And
right? Yeah. So, you know, is there anyone that's kind of flip-flopped and changed who they thought it was? And who, so if you have, then put down who you originally thought and then who you think it is now. I
believe it was Kaylee.
I still think it was Kaylee.
And I think in my kind of like the proof was when I think the father said that I think she seemed to have the worst injuries. I think that was
right.
like the biggest thing for me, that I was like, I think she is the one.
Right.
You know, I know it's so confusing because like the sheath was found underneath Maddie. So that just, you know, but and it's kind of like one of those
we don't know
like
when, you know, he did one and then when they rolled, we don't know in the fight or whatever.
Right, you know.
Or maybe Maddie was on the outside of the bed. Maybe Maddie was because the bed was pushed against the wall, so
yeah, she was on the inside of the bed where Maddie was, because I remember in the video them showing that they showed where the sheath was. So the sheath is on the closest side to the wall of the bed, because the bed's against the wall there.
Well,
when
could
you
have been
walk
that he
in.
unalived her first. I mean, usually in victimology, we always say, but it's not, obviously it's not a law, that usually the first victim is the target, but it could be the second one too. If somebody gets in the way, like if she was in the way. But still the one that gets more injury, so it's more personal. I would say,
Right.
that was
I mean,
Kaylee.
Right. And I know, Alexa, like I said, that, like this is like up your alley, and, you know what I mean? It really becomes about
Yeah.
what's normal and what, obviously if a victim has more wounds, usually that would be the one that got it the worst, because of the fact of that's the person that they were going after. Which reminds me of, like, I don't know. I was gonna say, I'll be curious whatever that day comes along. What book was underlined for 118
On the page 118.
Yeah, I'll be curious. I think he killed her one time, then K, then Maddie K. Yeah, I think it was one of again, to me, this is a sad event that Idaho doesn't even compare to Delphi's status of, twists and turns or anything like that. This is just going to be one of those things that's more along the basic lines of why people do certain things. You know what I mean? It just kind of falls underneath. Whereas Delphi it will fall, but
it's the magnitude of the crime that makes Idaho so that makes it so horrific. And it's just because it's 4 adult individuals with their whole lives ahead of them, and then the horrific manner which they were unalived. That's what makes it so horrific. Whereas with Delphi, they were 2 children, and then there have been 6 years of twists and turns in the case. So yeah.
Now, Alexa, when I was watching, like I said earlier, the one that was before that, which was Banfield, and I think it was that Degard, whatever his name was, guy, Degard, the one that was with Jennifer Coffindaffer, the other guy, not Como, but the other guy. So what, they said that it's very common for someone to take a souvenir. Like, it's way more common for someone to be a killer and take a souvenir to, I guess, relish in their glory, of what they've done. I was actually looking at something which has like the 10 top things, souvenirs or trophies, I should say, that people have
Usually
done.
hair, underwear, jewelry, IDs.
So let's Kate. So we know that some undergarment, whatever, was missing from Delphi. Okay, and I can't remember exactly what else. Wasn't there a sock or something like that missing as well? Sock and undergarment, whatever. But so does this play into your thought about the whole fantasy thing?
Yeah, because usually underwear, see, everything goes back to the mental stage or the feelings. Like, the trophies are more to glorify the person, to relive the fantasy, or to prove that they were there. The souvenirs are more emotional, is what the K is attached to. He's not taking it as a glory to glorify himself. He or she, but females are very rare, so I usually just gonna say he's taking it to relive that fantasy, to smell it. A lot of them put it in a Ziploc bag to preserve the smell.
Bryan loved to do that.
So that's what they do. It's like, it's almost like, when you have a boyfriend and you were long distance. I remember when I was with my husband, I was long distance. I took his sweater and I used to smell his sweater all the time back in the day. Now I can't stand it. Now I'm like, go away. So it's one of those things that is to relive. It's almost to smell the person. So for me, that tells me, again, it kind of build, when you're doing profiles, you stack thing after thing after thing, and that goes more into my theory that is it's more of a sexual fantasy because
I was gonna say,
otherwise, and hair, piece of hair, underwear, socks, versus an ID or things that are not too personal, because those things are personal to the victim.
Because I was gonna say, so Richard Allen is more about, say, the fantasy, the
fantasy,
fantasy, whereas Bryan Kohberger is
more
of
of the
anger.
trophy. It's more of the, even though it might be fueled by a fantasy of his, but I don't think it was so much. I think I always said it was stalking, but stalking taking to the next level. But I think at the same time, the mechanism that he did it is he wanted to become, famous. Hey, he wanted to be like, like the ones he read. I always say
I believe so.
So, so he didn't take it as part of out of his fantasy. He took it as part of saying, "Hey, this is what I did."
Yeah.
So, so that's how when you go between it's basically, in theory, it's almost the same thing, but it's not, because you have to think trophy is less personal, and the souvenir is what's personal to the kid. They are taking it for personal.
I just started when I did that. Sorry, but GMF3. Remember he came in here last time and never said that? No, we were just talking about Delphi.
For like 2 seconds.
We're kind of comboing the boat. Can you hurry up and get a channel and talk about Delphi? Then you don't have to worry about it. You can talk about Delphi all you want. I don't believe.
Yeah, and just that could be, I don't know. He hadn't moved anything. He hadn't really moved anything out of his apartment in Washington that we know of. But I had that thought originally when I was questioning why his dad would buy a one-way plane ticket from Pennsylvania to Washington to get in the car and drive the car back. That didn't make sense to me originally. But I do know that, it's kind of could be a bonding thing. It could be whatever. And I know that was, it had been, the ticket was bought, I think, on the beginning of December, towards the beginning of December. I saw the record.
Is it true? I heard that Bryan is afraid of flying, and that's the reason that he didn't want to fly, and that's why the father decided to drive.
That could be,
but I don't know if that's true.
Well, then if it was, then sucks to be him that he had to take that flight.
I know those little planes, right?
Wait, that 14-hour flight.
That was like karma.
All day long.
JLR
drove there faster.
Right. True. I had a thought went away. Yeah, it was something. I don't remember now.
Oh God,
you know what? I hate it when it's like you're thinking about something. I read something, gone like the wind. Yeah, just like air, gone. Anna says, underwear thieves steal underwear. I used to have a neighbor. Well, sorry. Yeah, neighbor kid who burglarized for underwear. Yeah. His ate it. My husband asked if he ate.
Ew.
Oh, with cream and sugar. Yeah, there's a lot of people that have those fetishes. I mean, hey, remember that one case in Canada we were talking about? Remember?
Yeah, Colonel Williams.
All that stash that he had in his house of all the different garments and stuff like that. And I get that. I mean, I get why, if it's like a sexual fantasy or something like that they would be like sniff, probably scratches.
But Russell Williams, not only he would steal them, but he would wear them.
Well, BTK as well, right? Like he had all sorts of like a treasure trove.
He was he was a weird one because he would collect I think IDs, credit cards, and also underwear.
Yes.
So
I wonder if Bryan Kohberger told his dad that he was fired from
I don't think
whatever. Probably not, right? I don't think so.
Because
either.
with those type of personnel, especially the narcissistic, the sociopath ones, no, I don't. They never admit they're wrong.
Well, I mean, you can see though, in a sense, kind of what was happening though, because he did, right? It's like, he did supposedly did the homicides. And then it's like his whole life just went, not that it wasn't going like that before it, but it was like, like a plane crash.
Because it has to do a lot with the mental stage, because after you do that, they start going into a depression, so that they don't care about anything. So some wonder how fast the depression sets in. Sometimes, it takes a while. Sometimes it goes fast. And usually for all of them, that's how it goes. Usually after the first, I can't speak, after the first K, everything starts going down.
Yeah, the Giggles. Hey, Giggles. The father drove him to Washington as well. Yeah, when it, I kind of wonder when he had gone there prior to that, because obviously when you get an apartment, unless you've done everything online, that usually someone goes down there and travels first, to go check it out, the new school. So I kind of wonder, like I said, unless something was just simply done online and everything was done through online, which nowadays is possible to do stuff.
I'm surprised no one's dug that up if he did go out and visit. I would think he would.
I don't know. I haven't really seen anything on that, to be honest with you. Do they wear them or just sniff them?
Some of them wear them.
I'm sure both or either.
Keep them. It depends. I mean, most of the Ks, the SKs, they keep them because it's part of their fantasy. That's the way of remembering, the person. But a lot of them, they have also a fetish, a paraphilia that, they wear it. That's what they do. But most of them, they just keep them. They stuff them.
Charmaine, I'll answer you really quickly. If you're driving from Idaho and anywhere towards the East Coast, honestly, going down to Interstate 40 is going to be the quickest and most direct route to get across the country. So that's the most logical explanation to me as to why he would go from Idaho down towards Colorado, because you can then get on 40 and take a straight shot, basically. I think almost to Indiana, where you would get on like 64, I believe. But I mean, that was just my assumption when I heard that. Because I've made that drive before, and that's what I would have done.
Did you read this one? I had an ex that had an underwear fetish. I split up with him because I found other women's underwear in his bags. But now, question: when you found the underwear that were in the bags, were they from friends of his or ex-girlfriends, or did he just steal from anybody? Because usually they steal from anybody, even if they don't know them.
Right.
Were you dating a YouTuber?
That'll be interesting.
I have a quick question off the subject. Is it true?
Which is?
What's the question, Bianca? I have a quick question off the subject. Is it true? Is what true?
I guess show them the question. Bianca.
Did you have something earlier? Mm-hmm. That RA worked out of town at Walmart near Evansdale.
No, not near Evansdale. It was in Illinois. It's when he worked in Central Illinois. I can't remember the name of the town right now, but yeah, he did. He would travel, and he stayed like Monday through Friday at a hotel, or Monday through Thursday, and then he would come back to Indiana. Which is why people have kind of talked about like I've mentioned, all of the alone time he spent, and how like there's really we think we look at Richard Allen and we think, how could he have done this? We really don't know much about Richard Allen. We really don't know much about what he's really like. Oh.
What am I then, Steffa? He's an important piece of history. Am I an important piece of S?
It's not Effingham.
Let's see here. Going through northern Idaho, we're going to Montana at the high elevation. Really bad weather.
Yeah, especially in December, because a lot of those roads are closed. Like if you're driving in that part of the country, I didn't even think about that. It was December. there are a lot of parts of through the Rockies that they close the interstates down, and you have to go 2 or 3 hours out of your way.
Oh, so hey, I mean, I hate to say this, but I actually kind of like that name in a sense. They called him the person the toy box killer. You know how they give names like for instance, like the Golden State Killer was known as the Night Stalker, then the East Side Artist, and then it changed, and then this female Michelle McNara or something like that kind of coined it, the Golden State. What do they call it again? What's the short version? Golden State
Killer?
BTK, is that the one that they call BTK? No, that's no. What's the Golden State? Well, anyway, the Golden State Killer.
The big old fat guy that you guys caught.
Yeah, the old guy.
Yeah.
And they told him that he was like, what was it, like 70 something?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean as much stuff. Doesn't mean as much. Your history.
Oh God, but the toy box K, he was bad. He used to change. He was almost like the BTK. He was up there. He was a sick cookie.
And
he used to torture. He used to take with pliers the nails of the women and used to chain them. And not the good chaining that people are thinking.
Well, I was gonna say, just Sarah wants to know if you're a mix of Italian and I think you're Chinese and Italian, aren't you? No.
No Italian. That's like the only thing I don't have. No Italian.
And maybe she's a Mexican taco. That's what she is. So are you 100% Italian?
I have English. I have. I was born in Austria, but I grew up in Spain with a British mom and a Spanish father from Spaniard father. Well, half Spanish, half French. So I am a mess. Really, like my background. That's why I love my husband, because my husband was the same. My husband was Canadian, but the father was Greek and the mother was German. So I was like, yes, finally, someone like me.
Look up Who's Tools, Miss Dog Lover. And there's my other favorite Canadian right there, Charmaine. And hey, Charmaine. Deb, if you're on the other night and I said that Westville does not have a prison, it doesn't. It's Westville, right? It's Westville.
Yeah,
I remember
Westfield.
me saying that Westfield doesn't. Thought maybe you might. Yeah, it's Westville.
Yeah, Westville. And it was Bradley, Illinois, was the Walmart that Richard Allen worked at.
Is that the one?
Yeah. He did work. As our understanding is that he did do training at the Peru CVS. I don't know if he actually worked there or if he just trained there.
Well, too much, Mom. You must have been coming in after we said that, because we had just actually talked about that about 10 minutes ago. So that's what they were kind of saying, perhaps, that we don't know for sure. Like perhaps he could have went into the house. I mean, it's a plausibility, right? I think it's more likely that it was taken that day, but it's also very plausible that he could have, from all the trips that he made out there, he could have entered into the house at some point. When you're not of sound mind, people do these things because, knowing that there was that many people in the house and yet he still went in. That's pretty ballsy, to be honest with you. Like, I know it was at night, but still, like, it's not like they were like right on the main floor there. They were like on the second floor. They were like, he had to go upstairs, but he would have known, of course, that there was the DoorDash, because he probably traveled back because he saw the DoorDash, because the DoorDash was at 4 and something about 4:05. No,
Cali.
Oh, you're talking about something different. Okay, I see you shaking your head. I'm like, no, are you sure? But I feel like it was just so brazen, You know, to sit there and go into a house that has like, you know, 6 people in it. And if it was for one person, and then to go in there, and just seems pretty brazen, knowing that DoorDash had just been there. Yeah, it's always nice when maybe at some point that the, you know, story comes out, and then all those pieces you're thinking about can get put together.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Absolutely.
if the Idaho police could just send me all the information on the case, that would be perfect. But yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
Indiana could have saved themselves a few years had they done that.
You know, I don't know. We were. Was it you that posted that yesterday about the geofencing? Somebody did.
From Paul Holes.
Yeah, you know, do you just want to quickly actually talk about that?
Gosh, I have to find it back in my.
Well, you don't have to just
yesterday.
You can just make mention to it because I can find it.
I mean, I'd have to remember what it said, Sonny.
Oh, it was honestly. And I'm sorry if I'm yawning. I'm just like really tired, apparently.
I found it really interesting, and it's very plausible. It's very plausible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think. I think they did it. I don't think it was specifically done after they mentioned it. I think they probably did it before.
Yeah, I agree with you, Alexa. But you know, but then I think it's much more likely than a specific tip being handed into them, like by, you know, like Kagan Klein or something like that. And it fits more with what I was told, you know, personally, as far as, you know, how they kind of came across him.
Wait, there's a Callie just sent me something.
Yeah.
There's an active shooter at Van Vliet. Take immediate action now.
Right now? Oh my God.
4 people arrested. Oh, it was gang related.
1 second there. Sorry, guys. Just gonna pull back up something here.
And not to go back to Idaho really quickly, I do want to say, you know, it'll be interesting, and I think that the families are still under the gag order, if I remember correctly.
They are.
But you know, it'd be interesting to know, because I'm sure, you know, the families have had the personal belongings of the victims returned to them, and so, I mean, I wonder which families don't have an ID. You know, so that, I mean, it would be easy to figure that out if the families were to talk about it, and I think Kaylee's would be the only one that would come out publicly and say that if they were allowed to.
1 second. What's Callie sending me here? Let's see here. Breaking. Okay, hold on. So for this active shooter one, it says current. Well, here, let me just quickly share it. I'll take this off for a second. Going with the Twitter. Okay. So this says currently multiple law enforcements and other agencies are rushing at Oklahoma University in Norman, Oklahoma, due to reports of an active shooter. Reports of heavy gunfire is currently being fired, as they issued an emergency alert message saying active shooter, take immediate action now, run, hide, fight. Huh? Run, hide, fight? Why would you say run, hide, fight? Or does that mean flight? Should that be say flight? Like,
probably.
As the campus of the university is currently on lockdown. Okay, there is an active shooter at the Vanville Oval. Take immediate action. Run, hide, fight. That fight word just does not make sense in there. It's throwing me off. No one's gonna say fight or like flight. Get the hell out of there. So what do you guys think about that, actually? Because why is it we're turning around and seeing all these things going off? You think when one person does it, next thing you know, it sets off like a chain reaction?
No, it just happens every day in the United States.
Right?
Unfortunately.
I mean, it's sad, but it's true. I mean, it does.
Oh, okay. So Cinnamon Girl says that's what you're trained to do: run,
Yeah.
hide, fight. Okay.
Yep.
That one threw me off because I was like, "What do you mean fight?" But
Yeah,
that
no,
makes
that's
sense.
I mean, that's what they tell people. Even if you're in a room and someone walks in with shooting, that's what you're supposed to do. If you can't run, you're supposed to hide. If you can't hide, you're supposed to fight.
Gotcha. See, this is how much training I've had in that stuff. Zero. But yeah, that makes sense now. I'm like, what do you mean fight? Run, flight.
I keep thinking today is Saturday, and I was like, why would they have school on a Saturday? But then I remember, I'm like, no, it's Friday.
Well, it's the university, so it's gonna.
No, I know, and it's Friday.
Yeah.
Brett Rogers is trying to distract us. Hey, Brett Rogers, are you any relation to Papa Rogers by chance? Yeah. No.
He does have a DG.
No. Obviously, it's of course a tarantula, Brent. I've seen it on TV in my house. So that counts. Okay, I win. A brown.
Canada probably only has polite spiders. They ask permission to come in.
We're just like, can you get out of here, please? Yeah. Okay.
Come in.
Did you see that there was also another shooting in South Carolina too?
Say that again, Alexa?
There was another shooting in South Carolina too.
Really?
Mm-hmm. 6 people dead.
Wow.
When was that?
Alive today.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
The heck's going? Like seriously? It's like a daily thing here. Like honestly,
It's becoming a daily thing.
That's what it feels like. But okay. So Callie, if you see anything more on it, just send me the link. Well, I mean, okay, so we'll go back to let's see here. Go ahead.
Yeah, there were 5 people shot in New Orleans today.
Jesus.
Oh, there you go, Adam. Right in the same place that you live. Like, not you don't live. Well, hold on. You live close to. How far is New Orleans from where you are?
Oh, that's Louisiana. I live closer to South Carolina.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. So you guys, we'll stay up to date on that, and see what's going on over there as well. But this is the Paul Holes article right here that Adam had posted. Adam, do you want to bring it up? Because honestly, I keep yawning. And
yeah.
Once I start yawning, it's hard for me to stop because if someone yawned, I don't know if you yawned or if I just yawned myself or somebody, or maybe somebody in the chat yawned. And
now you're making me.
I know it's contagious, isn't it?
Contagious.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know. I'm sitting here watching Alexa yawn now. Then I yawn because I seen her yawn.
Goodness, I'm going to be the only one sitting here in a minute.
Do you want me to say
yeah, we're going to be like, oh,
okay.
What?
Yeah, I have it pulled up.
Okay.
You want me to read you just want me to read it?
Yeah, if you could.
Okay.
It's very interesting, you guys.
Yeah, the article. This was posted on BuzzFeed, and it was posted on April 4th. And Alex Voorhees is the one that sent it to me, so thank you, Alex. Cold case investigator Paul Holes was on the eve of retiring when he cracked one of his coldest cases using DNA and genealogy technology. He played a crucial role in identifying the Golden State Killer, the serial SA and unaliver who had terrorized California in the 70s and 80s. For years before the 2018 arrest of Joseph James D'Angelo Jr., there's the Golden State Killer's name. However, Holes had chased leads that went nowhere. Amateur sleuths were following the case too, most notably Michelle McNamara. The late author described her own obsession and was the first to rebrand the original, or the unknown suspect, previously called the original Night Stalker, and Ida S. Assaulter, as the Golden State unaliver in 2013 Los Angeles Magazine feature. In the article, she described reading 20,000 posts about him on a true crime message board, from paranoid cranks to the raw and curious insomniacs, driven by the same compulsion to piece together the same puzzles I am. Holes would later describe McNamara as his unofficial detective partner, with whom he compared notes and research up until her untimely death in 2016. She wasn't the only one he heard from. After Michelle McNamara's article and rebranding of the moniker, the sleuths came out of the woodwork. Holes told me when I asked the staggering rise in recent years on online true crime buffs, especially on TikTok. Some of the sleuths have great skill sets, some that are not found natively within law enforcement, and so they can apply their expertise to help. And I took advantage of that with select individuals, said Holes, whose experience with armchair detectives dates back to the late 90s when he was working on the Zodiac case. The danger, he said, is when the amateur sleuths contaminate the investigation by approaching families of the victims and overwhelming investigators with tips. In the Golden State Killer investigation, Holes said I had about 30 of those online sleuths who were communicating with me all the time, but he eventually had to stop responding to them. Unlike those tipsters, Holes said I had the DNA, I had the genealogy tool. But people got angry when he cut them off, and even today say all sorts of derogatory things about him. Holes says he seemed resigned to it. There will always be this group that is thinking either they can help on the case or that they actually are better than law enforcement at working the case. Journalist Kate Winkler Dawson, Holes' partner on the podcast Buried Bones, in which the two re-examine centuries-old true crime cases, agrees. My issue is when investigators, who as far as I know are doing as good of a job as they can, are painted as this like nefarious entity trying to hold back information, or are so Keystone cops that they don't know what they're doing, she told me. Dawson said the killing of 4 college students in Idaho is a great example of how people speculating on social media can hurt an investigation, including the harassing the surviving roommate. That's where I get a little bit frustrated, she said, especially for a group of investigators who might not be as experienced and who are overwhelmed to be derailed potentially by people coming in and trying to take over an investigation. On, or at a minimum, criticize and really kind of turn the tide against these investigators. Just seems really sad to me. It's counterproductive. I asked Holes how he feels about people who insist a convicted killer is innocent despite overwhelming evidence of their guilt, like Scott Peterson, now serving a life sentence for the murder of his pregnant wife, Lacey Peterson. Peterson had vocal defenders from the time he was arrested, and in spite of his conviction, a 2017 documentary and podcaster continues to argue he's innocent. I was pulled in on Lacey Peterson early on because she washed up in my jurisdiction. Her and Connor did, Holes said, referring to the couple's unborn son. He met with the coroner, district attorney, and police and was briefed on what he called the strongest circumstantial case I've ever heard. I doubt that level of information that I've been exposed to in this case is being put out there in the public domain and interpreted properly by someone who has the right experience and expertise to put it out for public consumption. Experience and expertise are important for people to keep in mind when listening to a podcast, Holes said. Generally, in the true crime space, those of us that came out of what I call the real crime world, you don't have a lot of us that are activists, he said. A lot of people are just taking up this true crime genre and then now trying to take information, maybe limited, and extrapolate without having really the expertise to be able to do it. So that's potentially a problem, because now you have listeners who also don't necessarily understand the limits of the person that they're listening to. In addition to Idaho, another case that has dominated headlines and speculation by online sleuths is the 2017 killing of the 2 young girls in Delphi, Indiana. Also, like Idaho, the man who was arrested and charged with murder of German and 13-year-old Abigail Williams was not among the people considered likely suspects by true crime fans following the case. When I jokingly asked Holes whether he was the one who found the resurfaced 2017 police interview with the Delphi suspect, placing him at the scene at the time the girls were kidnapped and killed, I was surprised by his answer. No, he said, but I did, through a producer, ask, because she had a source, have they done geofence? And then, within a couple of days after asking that question, they landed on, they were kicking the door on the suspect's house. Geofencing is a controversial investigative tool that uses smartphone data to identify people within a particular area and time period, as federal authorities did to identify the January 6th rioters at the U.S. Capitol. And so I'm kind of curious, Holes said, Did they do a geofence because he admitted he was at the location with his cell phone? And the geofence would literally show him meeting up with the victims and walking away with the victims? There's something that caused them to kick his door in, and it wasn't the live round found by their bodies, even though that was matched back to his gun. They would have matched that later. So I'm still kind of curious to see if maybe that suggestion, because there's a reason the U.S. Marshals were at the press conference. You know, this guy wasn't a fugitive. There's a reason why they had feds there. And who does geofence a lot? The Marshals do. I bet the geofence is what led them to that guy's house. It could be coincidental, Holes acknowledged. For me, I just know when the suggestion was made and when they kicked his door in. Although officially retired from law enforcement, Holes continues to offer his services behind the scenes and has some role in both current cases like Delphi and cold cases like Zodiac and the Long Island serial killer. But I would love to take on maybe an expanded role and roll up my sleeves and actually get into one, Holes said, versus either getting updated as to what's going on or being a consultant in very finite ways. Okay, sorry.
That's okay. No, Fibro's coming up with names while you were reading that. It's coming up with names for people that need a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Great article, I have to say. Great article. I really like it.
It was a great article.
And you know, and it's funny, you know, reading that and then thinking about, you know, what I was told about the search warrant for Richard Allen's house. It does fit a lot more in line with kind of what I was told, rather than someone tipping him in necessarily. Again, I don't think it was Paul Holes that gave them the idea to do it. Like Alexa said, I think that, you know, but I do think a geofence is probably how they found him.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I read that article a couple times. Go ahead, Adam.
I was also told that, you know, an original geofence might have been the reason he wasn't looked at, because even though he told them he was there, his phone didn't register being there. So the technology behind, you know, connection to him didn't add up. And so he might have been passed along. He might have just been passed over, because he might have had a burner phone.
Right.
And that's that's speculation. But
so why is it controversial? Because it's more about privacy?
Yes.
Is that why it's controversial? Yeah.
Because there's no way they can. They see everything, you know, when they do that. You know, so any phone that's in the area, they can see anything from that at that time.
And they don't need a warrant. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Does that make sense, Shelley? She's saying, what is the geofence? Right. Because at first I had to read it a couple times to see what I was reading, because it was kind of, in the little part, it was a little bit muddled to me how the wording, it was kind of like weird wording a little bit as it was talking. It was just like weird. And so
CD's talked about geofences before throughout you know, CD has talked on this show and his own about geofences before, and about how how they can be used, and I'm sure he has some interesting thoughts on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, I know, because that's such a hard one, you know, like, look at, I remember when they were talking about the, you know, like, you just can't just, you know, ask for, you know, the phone data and stuff like that. You have to, you know, have good cause, you know, because of all the, you know, society in the last, I'd say, 15 years now. Before, it used to be like there's basically any privacy. Every time you turn around now, there's some sort of Facebook update to privacy, Twitter update to privacy. And yet, you know, if there's like, what I thought was so strange was that I remember they were talking about trying to get the data, and they were saying, like, it's just not as easy as as simple as it sounds. You have to have, you know, search, get the warrant.
Was that Ives that was talking about that?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, and he said something, and I was like, well, hold on. But I mean, there was a phone, you know, there, you know what I mean? Like, there was a phone there, meaning Libby's phone was there, and probably Abby's too. But it was kind of like, it just never made sense, because obviously there's a phone there. So they should have had access to be able to get whatever records, because obviously there had just, the girl's homicides had happened. I don't know. I just remember that there was that big thing about it, because it was like, I can't remember if they couldn't get certain records or whatever.
It's about that was a different thing, because that's when you have to get a warrant for.
Yes.
And
Whereas
so this can be done a little bit more covertly, and that's part of the problem with it.
Right. I know. Because
even though I always say, if you're not doing something illegal, you shouldn't worry about it. Like I always say that about my devices, everything.
Yeah, but it's also, at one point, even though you're no, I said the same thing. I have nothing to hide. You can come and look.
Right.
But also, at what point it becomes that my business is
I get it.
everybody's
I understand.
business. You know what I mean? That even though you're
course.
not doing anything bad, you don't want. And the thing with geofencing is a lot of the stores are using it, and
Yes.
and most of us probably have. We have experienced geofencing when you go near a store and then you get a
They're using it for targeted ads.
and they said, the store says, oh, we give you a 20%, and you're like, wait a second, I never shop here. Like, how do you have my information? That's geofencing.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, they even use it for how long you linger on certain aisles.
Yes.
Isn't that
And
crazy?
anything you'll do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, in the case when there's like, say, homicides or whatever.
I'll be right back, by the way.
Okay. To me, in the case when there's homicides, let me put it this way. I'd rather them geofence and catch the person than risk the fact of having somebody else die at the hands of another killer because of that reason. Because like with Delphi, what Delphi has ticked me off in so many different ways. But one of the stupidest answers I remember, and I can't think of his name, that was sitting at the table talking with Riley that day. And he basically said, it wasn't the tow one, I believe, when they talked about, like, is it safe? Like, should we be worried? And then I remember like the old guy, bald guy that was sitting in the middle of the table, it was the interview where he said Sugar Creek instead of Deer Creek, that interview, when it first happened. And I just remember he's like, well, kind of like, I think people can draw their own conclusions, in a sense. I think people are left, and I'm like, really? To draw their own conclusions? No, how about you just say, because obviously if there's two girls that are dead, and and they're acting like that as if it's couldn't potentially happen to somebody else again. And I thought to myself, like, are you guys serious? Like, really? You guys, like, they don't even know their heads from the hole in the butt at that time, in a sense. But to sit there and tell people, like, I think most people are wise enough to make their own decisions, and I'm like, how about you just say that you don't know? And you know what I mean? Because
especially in a small town, that stuff doesn't happen. Because I mean, if it's New York City, you go like, okay, but in small town,
in a small town, every kid was probably locked in their house when they heard about that. Because
I bet, because they were thinking, when is it going to happen again?
Like, I wonder honestly how long it took for Delphi residents, especially, to, like, honestly, like, to feel a little bit safer there, because at the time you have no clue it is. They got no answers. They're saying that the person lives in or around Delphi and, or worked in there and all that stuff. Like, meaning there's all these things. They have no answers to give. So they can't tell you nothing. Like, they didn't tell them nothing. And I just found that so offensive to me. No, if you know what I mean? You guys, they didn't even, like, you can even look at hindsight, but they had no clue who it was. So keep your kids safe. How about that? How about, how about giving a proper statement? Then, I think people are, got their own, wise enough, or whatever he said. And I don't know. It was just like, just give an honest answer. That wasn't an honest answer. An honest answer would be, I would suggest that you keep your, children safe, be very wary of your surroundings or whatever, and did it until we have more information or something like that.
And I'm sure they had to know it was targeted from the get-go. that
Well,
they
that's
knew
just
this
the
wasn't
thing,
going to happen again.
but that's just the thing, though, Alexa. I mean, they didn't know. Like meaning, okay. So besides having the obviously the expertise of the police and them seeing the
Mhm.
crime scene and seeing that it
Mhm.
was looked like it was targeted, perhaps, but then why didn't they say something like that to the public to make them feel a little bit better?
Safe.
But no, they didn't say
Mhm.
nothing. Instead, they just basically said, like Tobe, like I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, well,
And
well,
sometimes the police even lies, and even though that they might not know it wasn't targeted, they say it was targeted so they don't have mass chaos. Because you don't
well,
want
Well, but that's the thing, and to me, that's doing injustice because they
mm,
should have at least said, you know what, at this time we do not know, so for your own safety, do this
yeah.
until we find out some more
But sometimes
information.
they don't want hysteria, so they prefer to give
Yeah,
that little white lie to
well,
avoid that,
it's better than another
hysteria.
killer and they're dead, because they
And that
didn't
happened.
know
If
it.
you remember the Washington, the shooter, what was his name? The sniper, the Washington sniper.
Oh
That
yeah,
they were
yeah.
like, oh no, not to worry, blah blah blah, and then he went killing everybody. And they
Hmm.
said, no, it's mainly we believe that it's target and that he's
Right,
targeting victims. And it wasn't, it was random. He was just picking
right.
random people by the gas stations. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Delphi is confusing to anybody, J Dubs.
it
I
is.
feel sorry for any sap sucker that even tries to wrap their brains around it. That's, like for me personally, like I said, I, it's been 2.5 years, I want to say. Geez, 20, yeah, 2.5 years. Because Suzanne Morphew was 2020 when I first heard of the case. Like Delphi, the reason why I'm even here to this day is because I clicked on that Delphi video. You know, I kind of want to kick myself for it, but not really, because
Mhm.
obviously it brought me into this whole new realm of YouTube and creating, like I had a channel, but I was using it for here and there for friends for making some, you know, whatever funny videos or whatever for them and stuff, right? So,
Mhm.
so it brought me to where I am today, which is more knowledge of YouTube and creating a YouTube channel and being a voice and stuff like that. That stuff, all that stuff, I truly appreciate. But it's just that I hate sadness and grief of other people. I
Yeah.
really because there's enough hurt in this world as it is, and then when you have to deal with these type of people that are out there in the world as well on top of it, like life's hard enough as it is just to go through life and work your butt
Mhm.
off and you do all this and you just try to stay sane in this crazy world that we live in a sense. And then there's these people out there that just make it like 1,000 times worse, that you have to sit there with the internet, and your kids have to be almost watched like hawks, but you could never do that. There's no perfect book for any of that stuff. And that's why I feel bad for Becky, because
Mhm.
Becky felt like she should have been more like aware, like in a sense, like which she would have known, but it's always hindsight. But the thing is, you can never be, no matter how much on top of your kid you think you are, it's always where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
They're
But
not going to
I
tell them.
think, I mean, back then, to give her the benefit of that, I think, especially in a small town, you go like, what are the chances of that happening in a small town?
Well,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
But I
You don't
mean,
even.
nowadays, in the way our world is, and the
Ex-
way, I mean, this generation should be aware that this is happening. And hopefully, a case like this opens the eyes to the new generation, to this generation, to say, hey, don't talk to anybody online because they're not what they say they are. It's very
and,
dangerous.
well, and that's just it. It's almost like you want to go preaching around to the schools and stuff like that. Like,
Mhm.
I really want to, honestly, like talk to some people around, like whatever this area or just in general, some moms, and ask them if they're
Mhm.
truly aware of what the internet houses, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, so I might do that, do some interviews with some people.
And some parents, and even still now, because I mean, I talk to a lot of the, to the moms, and they tell me my kid doesn't have a TikTok, and my son is like, yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
Mhm.
And my son's like, they do. The thing is, the parents don't even know. They just
Like
give
a
them
Finsta.
phones. Yeah, they're like, have the phone, whatever. So that's why you have to be on top of your kid.
Yeah, I just hate it when but I do hate it when people blame parents, like, and they judge them so badly. Like, for instance, when like that mom and that were sleeping and then the kids snuck out and whatever, that stuff happens. It just happens. It's not because they're bad parents, but people want to come on the attack right away on people and stuff like that. There's no way that people can keep up with what their kids are doing online, no matter how hard you try. So I really hate it when people come in, start preaching the preach.
Yeah. I mean, you
like
do
that.
have to be careful as a mom, but
Absolutely.
But it does happen.
And the thing is, only when you're in true crime, and that's my point. When you're in true crime, you're so much more aware of what's going on. Honestly, if I wasn't in true crime, I would be oblivious to all these CSAM stuff. Like, I would never think it was next level stuff like it is at all. And
when people want to do stuff that's nefarious, they'll find a way. I'm sorry, Sonny.
No, go ahead.
When people want to do something nefarious, they'll find a way. I've told the story on here before about, like, I even have been told about instances where people have carried out secret conversations through the chat function on Words with Friends. Something as benign and simple as, like, a word game that you might think your kids are learning from by playing, and they could be, people will use it. They're like, oh, hey, message me on they'll start a game on Words with Friends, and they'll message someone in the chat option. People use it for affairs too, but so people don't even think about the fact that a lot of these, like, children's games have like a chat option.
Right.
I think the best thing is to tell you, to have a good relationship with your kids. And number two, always tell the dangers to your kids, because that's the best thing. I mean, because you're not going to be there all the time. And what I always do is I always tell them when there's cases like this, I always tell them what happens. And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, you can lie to me, but this is what can happen to you.
Yeah.
And not to make them afraid, because you don't want them to be paranoid of the world, but you just want them to be aware of what's happening.
Just be aware. Yeah. And yeah, that's the thing, is that, like I said, Alexa, is that most people most people aren't even remotely aware how bad it is, meaning as parents, right? Like, I mean, if most people knew exactly what was here on the internet, like, I know that they have, an idea a little bit, but we have an idea a lot. Most people have an idea a little bit because they're not in true crime, so that they know that there's some bad people out there. But I'll tell you, most people will have no clue to the absolute amount of whether it's CSAM, whether it's an SK, whether it doesn't, right? Exactly.
Also, another thing that parents don't have is they always say, that's not my kid. My kid would never do that. My kid doesn't change, because they have that perception of the kid like being an angel, and they don't know. Like, I have caught my kids in has good Catholic school. They go to church every Friday. I am on top of them. And sometimes I catch them saying the worst thing. Like the other day, he was like, I would mother. And I was like, seriously? I threatened them. I was like, you know what? Next time I'll put soap in your mouth, because you can't. I mean, 9-year-old cannot be speaking like that, like talking to their friends. And I was like I was listening to like 20-year-olds, speaking to their college buddies. And I'm like, no, that's not the way you speak. But, you cannot be blind. And when I told the other mother, your kid is saying bad words, they're like, my kid never says bad words. And
I know.
I heard him. He was with my kid, and they were both saying bad words.
Yeah. I mean, I know in hindsight, like I said, you can never do take backs. And like I said, I feel like Becky, I mean, the guilt, because it's just regardless, even though anyone would say to Becky, no, Becky, there's nothing to feel guilty about. There's no, or even Anna for that matter.
But you're always going to have that you could have.
But you're always going to have that, because you have because you know how it is. You do something and you wish you could go back in time and
and
you would
fix
do
it. Yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
And sadly, stuff like this is just so
Mhm.
heartbreaking because it's only in and sometimes the future that you see, what has happened. Like look at that guy that overdosed by that dad of 5. Come to find out, he was trying to hooking up with women and doing substance abuse there as well. And then all of a sudden he dies, and all these ghosts are coming out of
Now
his
you know.
closet.
Well, and sadly, I mean, look at the kids that get sex. What's it called, sex torsion? That end up taking their own lives. Whereas if they just felt like they could talk to someone, or they just felt like they didn't have to hold that into themselves. I mean, it's just the horrible, the idea of a 13 or 14-year-old thinking that things are so bad that that's their only way out. Or like the kid in Indiana that I believe it was Indiana, that his mom or stepmom had left to go to the store, and like literally in like 15 minutes had recorded a video of himself saying he'd been bullied every day and unalived himself.
And that's another thing. Parents always, be, like go into the schools and like be more on top of the school. Like I sometimes go to the school and I don't care. Like, I mean, you're not supposed to, but I say, oh, can I go to the bathroom? And I take the long way and I pass by my kids' class. Or I drive by and I see my kids usually play where they play by the by this area by the church, but it's all gated. They close and they gate everything, and I go there and I sit in my car. Sometimes my kids catch me and they're like, and I'm like, oh no, I was just driving by. I'm like, I'm not looking. I'm like,
you're that mom.
I know. Well, yeah, they're like, please. They're like, your mom is here. Because I see, especially in recess, that's when you see when they're being bullied, and I see, they're playing, they're doing this, da da da.
Yeah.
You have to. Sometimes.
I honestly, I feel bad for kids, like meaning, so like I never ever had that problem in school myself, because so. But it's like usually the people are deemed as the outcasts and stuff like that. But what I can't stand is honestly, kids that can be so cruel, and to each other, and stuff like that happens. And I honestly wish, I don't know the answer to it, but I wish that I'd rather homeschool my kid, I think, any day than put a child through, that, because the point is that you're rearing them to go get a job in the world and real life stuff, but you also want to teach them how to interact,
also those bullies, those are the ones that become the mass shooters later on, because they get so angry, they're being bullied,
or they become keyboard warriors on YouTube.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of those ones, right?
I mean, we talk about how kids are being so. I mean, look at the way adults act. I mean, these are the people that are teaching the kids the the values and the morals that the kids are.
Yeah, because the kids are, especially like at this age, they're just a copy of the parents. You go
absolutely.
Like I hear sometimes what my kids say about it, and I look at the parents and I'm like, they're just like the parents. Nothing going on here.
Right.
Exactly, CJ.
Thanks, Mandy.
Sponges. Like you cannot say everything to the kids because they're like sponges. They take everything in.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to go back to something that's that I was just thinking about as we were talking about this. I want to actually go back to the potholes conversation of that one. What I find disgusting myself is when people literally go, like they did with Summer Wells. They literally go and they try to get information from Candace, from Dawn Wells. They start interfering in the investigation, sneaking on property stuff. You know anything about that? Okay. No, but you know what I mean? Like, and that's where I feel like people are crossing the line for the sleuths and stuff like that, constantly trying to interfere with, like, to me, that's just crossing the line, to sit there and go insert yourself, and whether it's go to the home of the Kohberger, like that Kohberger home, and sitting there, filming it with your camera, and more like inserting it. That's one thing I guess.
Or doing interview, or saying, or saying things, like the police has to tell us. And I always say the police doesn't have to say anything. They don't have to give the public. They don't know anything to the public. Whatever they say is because they want to say it, but they don't owe anything. And I hate when the people like, remember when Idaho was going on, they were saying how bad the police was handling, and and look at everything that they were doing. They had already had a suspect, they were already following him, everything. And people were like, oh, they suck, they're not doing anything, this is going to become another Delphi. And I'm like, give it
people
time.
were calling it a cold case after 3 weeks.
After 3 weeks, it's going cold.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes people's brain cells are seriously too
it's
short.
Entitlement. That's 100%. It's entitlement.
That's the part of this that I don't like, of this whole true crime online.
It's society. It's society. I mean, it's the way everyone treats everyone.
Yeah.
Not everyone, but I mean, it's not just true crime. Sadly, it's the way we act in stores, the way people act.
Because it's that instant gratification that we have. With everything online, everything being fast, we need it now.
Right. That doesn't apply to me because I'm special. That
Another thing that I wanted to see, and this is a little going back to what we were speaking before, because I forgot, is also parents should be careful what they post, the pictures they post about their kids, because I have seen my friends do it, and I always call them out, and they're like, oh no, I don't see anything wrong, and they put their kids like in, like sometimes in bathing suits and stuff.
Yeah.
And like, you can't do that. Nowadays you cannot do that, because unfortunately,
you want to attract the little pedos. Yeah.
I mean, I'm leery of putting a picture of my niece on any of my social media. My 19-month-old.
And it's something you want to share because you want to share with your friends. Your niece. What you're proud of. But
it's because,
especially being a crime, I'm like, I don't want to put that out there.
No.
Well, when people are posting those things, just like they're not even thinking about that. They're thinking, oh, look at my cute kids.
Yeah, how cute. They're thinking just how cute. I want to share it.
They're not even thinking about the predators, and that's sad. Like I said, it's a sad day because, right, in a good, perfect world, you would be able to post things properly and do whatever and type of thing. But no, you have to worry about all these scammers, all these pedos, all these, pervs that are like looking at that stuff, saving the picture, using it for their own sick, twisted minds and stuff like that. Ew. Now I'm thinking of Kagan Klein. Ugh. Because that's exactly really it is. He's getting images from these underage children for their own sexual gratification.
Yeah.
And it's just so disgusting. It's just so disgusting to me. Why? Because you can't get someone older's pictures because
it's just sickness. It's a sickness. That's just a sickness. I think it's their brain it's wired differently than ours.
Well, mind you, he did have a paid account, right, or a paying account, or whatever it was.
No.
I
honestly, I have seen enough that those type of offenders, unfortunately, they don't rehabilitate either.
Yeah. Having your account set to private, where the only people that can see them are your friends or the people you choose to. It requires a little bit more work, but I mean, it's something that everyone can do, without having to not have social media.
But even sometimes in those friends, and it goes back to my Facebook is and I hate anything, but my friends, my friends that I can call them on the phone that I know who they are, because a lot of times people accept anybody and they're like, oh yeah, it's a friend of a friend, but how well do you know them? You don't know. And even your friends, you don't know, their husbands, their boyfriends.
Yeah.
I have all my people on Facebook categorized, and I'll only share certain things with the people I have in my family and other things so that, no one else in my friend list can even see those things.
Oh, I didn't know you can do that.
You have to create groups.
That's good.
I literally have, and that's only because some people from this true crime world are on it. I legit have 212 people on my Facebook.
Yeah, because
most of them are from a game that I used to play called Bingo Blitz on Facebook. You know, I'd say maybe 50 of them are like family friends and people from here. The rest of them are just like bingo blitz, probably people, if anything, maybe a little bit more, maybe 60 or 70, perhaps for family friends and associates in a sense, but from true crime. But honestly, some people like you go to their Facebooks and there's like 5,000. It's like they're on our mission to see how many people they can put on their Facebook group. I don't have very many because I like, to me, for me, typically, in order to get into my own personal life, you know, it's not very often I usually let people get into my own personal life and space too much, because I hold my friends close and dear typically, you know what I mean? So usually if I've come to know you through the internet, through the true crime and stuff like that, and then I've accepted you on the Facebook, but there's some people on there I probably shouldn't have accepted, but you're like, sometimes you're like, okay, fine. Whatever. But you don't really, it's like, you know their name from true crime, but you're not overly familiar with them really. But it's kind of like, because for me, my Facebook is like my, kind of like my own little private space too. I don't want just everyone and anyone seeing my information and stuff like that. I don't, like I said, really use it as, I don't put too much personal posts up there, the odd one here and there, you know, if my mom's birthday passed or something like that. But yeah, you know, so for my Facebook, I really don't try to add a lot of people to that one. Twitter, I don't really care, because Twitter's for that, it's a crime and shame, the crime and shame or whatever. Same with Instagram and stuff like that. But as for my Facebook, my own personal Facebook, yeah, it's just very limited to how many people I have. Most, like I said, I mean, like that John Glicko, he has like, remember Adam, he has like 4,000 and something on one of his accounts. And that's one of 5 accounts, but that, like, I don't know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, just for me personally, like, there's people out there who cares. They just add everyone and anyone underneath the sun.
Right.
Yeah.
I stopped using social media almost completely during, was it the 2016 election, just because it was so nasty and it really turned me off of it. And then, you know, just from both sides. And then, you know, with the C word, once that, you know, and then to hear like everyone's opinions on that, I just really was like, so, you know, being in the true crime genre, I've really been on social media 1,000 times more than I probably ever have. You know, but you know, it's kind of nice because I'm not in the habit of posting things about my personal life on there now. Right? So
yeah.
See, I had 2, because I have one for my personal one. Well, honestly, one because most people in my private life, they call me by my first name. Like, I usually go by my first name.
Right.
And people only, you know, like you guys, I go by my middle name. And there's actually 2 friends that actually go by my middle name. So that's why I had 2 that I didn't want to bring and mix and everything. But I mean, it's not a secret either, you know.
Same. And then Sunny puts it out on a video. Thanks, Sunny.
Well, apparently I put your first name, and I don't even know, because it's like I said, you know, like, and I was so proud of myself because it was only like one take even that I did that, you know, in that, to be honest with you. I was like, oh, woo, one take. Normally I got like freaking 30 before I like something. And I was like,
you could splice that one little thing. Just
no, I can easily do that. I just have to re-upload it as all.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's not your fault. I mean,
Spencer.
Sunny talks to me.
Well, you said I even said your name wrong too. I said I don't know, because like I said, I can't remember, because in my head I was like, I said Aspen Connor, because you know, maybe I did take a couple more takes than that. I just remember going like, I don't know. I'll have to go back and watch it, to be honest with you. But yeah, no, I could easily fix it and just re-upload it.
I'm sorry.
No, I just didn't want to do any more videos because YouTube, you know, only sends out 3, so I didn't want to waste one when the live was coming up. So I didn't want to like add another video. So, yeah, but now I can go back and do it. Right
Miss
after.
Dog Lover. Mwah. Happy Easter, Miss Dog Lover.
Happy Easter.
Yeah.
Stay safe.
Miss Dog Lover going to bed? Or Miss
Yeah.
Dog Lover, she lies. We never trust her. Every time she does that, next thing you know, she's,
Have we been on for 2 hours? Fine.
I was going to say, we're just about to end this. I was just looking at the time there. Thank you, Miss Dog Lover, for the $1.99 super chat earlier, by the way. Captain Morgan strikes again. I haven't even had no drinkies. I haven't had no stomach attacks either. So,
Yeah.
You know.
Probably not related.
We're in a dry spell.
Well, I'm actually almost scared to have a drink for that reason, because like I said, the thing is, and
Didn't you have one of those things the other night?
yeah, but I was powering back Cat Morgan like it was freaking like, remember when I had those 2 bottles for over those couple weeks or whatever it was? Because and so anyways, I was just powering it back out of the bottle, right? I was just like, and so, but anyways, but I haven't had any stomach things, so I'm not saying for sure that it had something to do with alcohol in the system and it was causing that. It could, I don't know. I'm just saying that I haven't had one, knock on wood, because that thing hurts. That's horrible when you get that thing for like literally half an hour, 30 to 40 minutes. I'm literally whining like a baby to my husband to take away the pain, and there's nothing you can do. But when you're in that much pain, it was instant. But anyways, when you're in that much pain, it's not fun. I can tolerate pain.
Miss Dog Lover, I don't know if you're still here, but when I thought of you earlier today when I did my true crime facts thing today, because I did something about the UK today, and I was thinking about Miss Dog Lover. So,
I was gonna say, we're gonna get heading off, you guys. I mean, for me too, the 2 hours goes by, but I just give me 1 second though. I just want to see if there's an update to that Oklahoma. Why am I hitting that thing? So give me 1 second. And
the little girl, the 2-year-old, or the shoot, or the
shooter.
You're talking about the shooter, okay?
Hopefully, those probably end up. They probably end up suicide by cop, or they end up unaliving themselves.
Right.
Well, Adam, just quickly tell people if you remember about the 3, the gang related. Those 3 people. One died on the Thursday, one died on the Friday, one died on the Saturday.
I can't think of the details. I know this morning there was a press conference, and at the time they had apprehended 2 of the 3 2 of the 3 suspects, which I believe were they all juveniles or were some of them juveniles. But that was just a horrible case, and they think that it was robbery related. But just in a small town like that, to have 3 people unalived in 3 different days that way, it was just very odd, I thought. But having them on video, luckily they were able to find out who they were right away, or relatively.
They said that they left so much evidence. So, because the bottom line is that there was in Florida, right? So there was a person that was unalived, red room on the Thursday, then one on Friday, and then one on Saturday. And one of the ones, somebody had actually called in because there was this vehicle that was like rolling up near this garbage or whatever. And then it like took off, but she had no idea when she called in, this person called in, that basically they disposed of one of the bodies and, that trash area. But anyways, and another body was found in the vehicle that they took off in. So she had saw this vehicle going really slow towards the garbage can, and then it sped off. And they tried to, of course, dump the car into this pond, but I think it was partially sticking up still. And anyways, because I think it went about 9 feet in. But anyways, so one of the victims was in the trunk. Now, something about, I don't remember the part, but something about that they were like willingly there wherever they were. But apparently they're from gangs. It's all part of a gang thing. And the 3 that and alive the other 3 basically had turned on them. But I don't think that they were from the actual same gang, but they were from, like maybe they were, I'm not sure if they were like sister gangs in a sense or what, but they basically they said all of them were part of gangs, but they made it sound like, well, this group was from this one and this one was from this one, but they might have been like a sister gang, not sure. But again, just going by what the press conference kind of said. So they got 2 of the suspects because they said that they left so much evidence that, and they know who the 3rd one is, but they just need to catch him. So that's really sad. Of course, that story. And then there was another story about that. Okay, Adam, so the thing that you sent me said missing mother, and then, but yet it's like that's the one with the kid, and that basically this Noel boy, the son,
Madeline Jane Kingsbury in Minnesota. She dropped off the kid, and then that was it.
Is that you're talking about? Because when I clicked on it, it was they kept talking about like this child Noel, and yeah, it was Adam. It was the weirdest thing because even when you sent me this other one, like it was literally about the news or something, like Trump or something like that. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, I sent you another thing about it.
Yeah, because this right here,
this story really interests me. I haven't looked into it super deep, but I'm really intrigued by Madeline's story, and it sounds really suspicious to me.
Okay, because it's so weird because the link that you sent me, it took me to them talking about this lady with 6 kids, and one of them she thought, yeah, it was weird.
Oh, I don't know, that's weird.
I closed it and I was like, why is it saying a missing lady? And then I clicked on the other link and I'm like honestly, like I went back to it a few times and I was like, okay, this isn't making sense. I'm clicking on it and it's literally taking me to a different story.
I posted the link also on my social media and it came up fine, so it's weird.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I sent you a different article about it.
One of those oddities.
It's an odd case though. And it's just now kind of really starting to hit the news.
Concern for her. We believe Maddie's disappearance is involuntary, suspicious, and we are all concerned for her safety.
Thousands have come together in efforts to find Madeline Kingsbury.
This community has really rallied around us, and so many wonderful people have traveled from all over the state and beyond to come and help find my sister, and we're beyond grateful and we're truly touched.
Across Southeast Minnesota, groups like this one have been searching high and low, leaving no stone left unturned.
We will remain loud about this and continue to advocate for Madeline any way, shape, or form.
Investigators have looked on foot, water, and air for Kingsbury and asked for the community's help in the search.
If you know anything or saw something suspicious, please call the Winona Police Department or Crime Stoppers. Your information might be the final piece that brings Maddie home.
Okay, so I know it's going to play fun. So it says the family of a missing Winona. Hey, stop. Missing woman is now offering a reward for information that helps bring her home. Law enforcement and family members of 26-year-old Madeline Jane Kingsbury came together Wednesday morning to discuss their search efforts. So she's been missing for about a week. She's the mother of 2. So let's see. Kingsbury was last seen the morning of March 31st at her home in Winona. But authorities, pardon?
What? Yeah, I was just saying Winona, yeah.
Yeah. But authorities said she never showed up for work, picked up her children from daycare, or made other arrangements. Police said that they learned she did not return home after dropping her kids off that morning in her 2014 dark blue Chrysler Town and Country. The father of her kids told police he left around 10 a.m. that morning and said Kingsbury was gone when he returned. Police said that the vehicle matching Kingsbury's van was spotted on Country Road 12 and Highway 43 in Winona County, and the Highway 43 is in eastern Fillmore County, then returned to Kingsbury's home at around 1:30 p.m. on March 31st. Officers also do not have any other indication she left the home on foot or in another vehicle, police said, and her phone, wallet, and jacket she wore the morning.
Yeah.
Oh, were all
Were found
found
in
in
the
her
home.
home. Huh.
That's never good.
That's never good. Okay, so I guess we're going to be following that case there, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Has anyone else heard? Has everyone heard about this case? Or I mean, because I saw it on the original article I saw was on NBC News last night, and then and I didn't know if anyone's covering it or not, but it sounded really interesting to me.
No, this is the first time. I'm
Yeah.
hearing about it.
Considering it was March 31st that it happened, which is a week ago, I haven't. Tell us about. I just told you about it. I just.
And that's really that I know.
That's all that they know.
There's suspicion over. I know there's suspicion over the spouse.
Yeah, Adam, whatever his name is. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it true that Mark and Nicola Bully? What?
Mark who?
Mark who?
Do you mean Paul? Because if you mean Paul, then no. Not that I know of.
Nothing. No. Where'd you? And who's Mark? Yeah. Who's Mark? Diamond Eyes. No, they did go in the water, however, to kind of, I think that they were more like doing a test about, about the body going about the weir, because obviously her body went past the weir and, was found floating. Actually, the armchair detective guy, dude, he's getting sued. I like how he's anyway, he's getting sued by I can't remember somebody. I think it's to do with the Chris Watts thing or whatever.
Who's being sued?
His name is the Armchair Detective. He's out of the UK. Yeah. And I think it's something to do with the Chris Watts case or something like that. I don't know.
I saw Mark.
I saw Mark. No. Mark. I don't know. I don't know what
I
you're
don't
talking
think
about.
it's a Mark in that case. Nobody.
Yeah. I literally just was looking at that case and I never seen anything about any arrest, and I don't think Mark. Yeah. I don't know. Nothing. That would be spreading like wildfire if it was true. Which it's not. So like we would be seeing videos pop, 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 to do with that if that was the case. So I don't know where that came from. Always, that's crazy. So now, unless someone was speculating, I don't know. Don't know.
Okay.
What's she saying?
That is someone's real name. That was arrested that we already knew about for a video.
Oh, the YouTuber.
Yeah.
Talk about Curtis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I don't want to put anyone's real name out there.
Well, no, Curtis puts his real name out there, or at least uses the word Curtis.
But that's probably his stage name.
Maybe. Oh yeah. Right.
So,
but the thing is that if that's who you're speaking about, that person wasn't arrested because of anything to do with Nicola Bully for the sake of anything to do with hurting her. That was simply to do with the fact that he was recording, and basically the police took issue with it, and basically wanted to, I guess, basically tell him he wasn't breaking the law, but they just wanted to throw their weight around, really is how that was. So Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes the newspapers, because when I read it too, it says somebody arrested on the Nicola Bully case, and it made it sound like somebody was arrested in connection.
Oh, yeah, but that was,
but it wasn't really.
Right. I mean, there was one that, and I think this is more the other person, perhaps. Someone's name was something Duffy, like Brad Duffy or something. And now that was the first person that was arrested with regards to the Nicola Bully case. Adam, what are you doing this for?
Because I'm reading the article.
What is? Read the article.
Well, it just has it has the real name on it. So I was like I don't know.
I mean, if there's an article, that's fine.
By now, everybody knows.
Like,
thank you, Diamond Eyes.
Read the article.
Oh well, now see now here I pulled up another one. This one has the other name, so I don't know. I have no idea.
I still want to know.
Because one of them because one article says Curtis, and then one says Mark Williams something.
I don't know.
But they're dated the same, so I don't know.
Curtis is Curtis.
Yeah.
Mark, I don't know. I'd have to take a look.
Yeah, I don't know the guy. You do.
Yeah.
I just don't want to take a chance of saying it a different name if that wasn't his real name. No.
Right. Yeah. If that's not meaning if that's not even him.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's him. No, it is him.
Oh, it is him. So, but this is older news, right, Adam?
Yeah.
Yeah, March 8th.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, like I said, if the newspaper has his name out there, then that's fair enough. But then if that's him, it's Curtis Media, which is well out there in the papers, because every time Curtis would make a move, basically let me put it this way. The online, you can tell they do things for stories, and they sure twisted a lot of things. Even when Curtis made a video about how he was treated at like how they handled at his nans and stuff like that.
The grandparents, yeah.
The grandparents, and even the media kind of twisted it to like, oh, he like almost like he's doing for him, and it wasn't about that. But the media, like I said, made it again seem like that YouTuber that showed Nicola's body. But I'll tell you, like I said, don't be hypocrites, people, because you guys are the same ones that are sitting there looking at the video when it came out and stuff. I never ever saw it myself. You took it down, but I never personally ever saw it. But I mean, why does something have hit viral? It's because everyone's watching it, but yet that's like very hypocritical of people when they do stuff like that. Because everyone's like, I don't want to look. Oh yeah, they're taking it out of the water. Anyways, so that had nothing. That was just simply to do with the police pulling their weight on him, because he had gone there. That's when he was at the caravan, and he went on the land with talking to Penny. It wasn't, and like I said, he did nothing illegal. But then basically the next day, they arrested him. And it was just really pushing their weight around. So they're saying that he didn't do anything illegal. So that's the stuff that makes me upset. And then next thing you know, they arrest him. They break into his, basically tear apart his grandparents' house and stuff like that. And yeah, just disgusting behavior when I see stuff like that. It's kind of no different than the UK police there pointing fingers at Peter Falding and blaming everybody but themselves. Like own up to your own crap instead of sitting there trying to blame.
That was a scapegoat. That's exactly what they made him into.
Oh, it was their own incompetence. It was their own incompetence, 100%. It was their own incompetence that couldn't find Nicola Bully. That's why they didn't deem it as a crime scene. They were the slobs. They were the sloppy ones.
But too much pride and too much pride, and they were too arrogant to say, you know what, we fucked up. Sorry for the language. We effed up. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Let's learn from this. Take it as a page to learn for the future. But nope.
Especially when there's already an inquiry over the department.
And that it was so obvious that they effed up from day one by not sealing the crime scene. Or the potential crime scene.
It's almost like like a different investigation from like a state in the United States. They called them. They're like, "Let me tell you how to handle this.
Yeah.
Don't say anything publicly."
Yeah. That I just get really irritated
Call off the
when they
dogs.
do stuff like that. Blame other people for their own incompetence, and it really was their own incompetence, and then all they did was just point fingers. And not only that, they were so busy focused on what the sleuths were doing online. Mind your guys' business.
Have you noticed that every case now that gets to be a large, like online sleuths, armchair detectives, and TikTokers, they're the new fall guys. You watch, it's only going to grow. It's only going to escalate to the point where there's actually probably going to have to be something done about it, because law enforcement, anytime they needed to deflect, and sometimes it's warranted, but every time they need to deflect from something, they can blame the public, and they can use that as an excuse to actually keep the public from public information.
Yeah.
And I get sometimes it's warranted, like the case where the TikToker, basically, called that professor out in Idaho that had nothing to do with it.
Oh, that one was bad. It kept saying, even after the season, and she started still saying that
She deserves to get sued.
the psychic, so-called psychic.
But every case now, you're starting to hear more and more of this, like, social media, online, armchair detectives.
In a negative way.
Yes.
And you can see it happening, Adam. I know exactly what you're talking about, because I seen it happen. As soon as it was mentioned, like once in a sense, all of a sudden, next thing you know, it was kind of like spreading, like fire amongst the news nations and other ones talking.
And the media likes to cover that because it takes the heat off of them.
Yeah. But hey, Ashley Banfield, how's that Reddit coming along? How's it with Facebook? Stuff like that, right? But
I don't think it was TikTokers and social media people that were knocking on all the doors in Moscow, Idaho. I'm pretty sure it was News Nation reporters.
Yeah. Right. Anyways, you guys have a great night. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Happy Easter to anybody that celebrates. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. And if anyone has any golden eggs, I'll take some of those. I'll take golden eggs. Yeah. But you guys, have a great Easter with your kids, your family, your friends, whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah.
Take care, guys. All the best.
Guys.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, thank you, Alexa. And I'm sure we'll see you all soon.
I'm sure.
I know.
Jess, I don't know what kind of lawyer, just to answer your question.
Yeah. Ask him what kind of lawyer is Maddie's father. I can't remember either now. I remember it back when it was said, but now I don't. Yeah. Anyways, take care.